mumble and grumble and grumble and mumble, and you finally end up doing it. You take out the trash? Good for you. Or clean your room, or help your sister or brother, set the table, offer to say the evening prayers at supper. Yeah, help your brothers and sisters, and be kind to others, hold the door open, anytime. When you do something, you take a little bit of the straw out and you put it in your manger. So on Christmas Eve, you can take the baby Jesus and you can lay him in the manger. That begins tomorrow. That begins today. So we can have it nice and fluffy and soft and cuddly for the baby Jesus to lay in. That's our adventure on the way to Bethlehem. Oh, you can start it anytime. You can start it right now. You're welcome. You can. Okay, now listen to me. They're very delicate, so don't be squeezing and pushing and shoving and everything. All right? All right? There you go. Hold it very gently. Let's go back to that.
Our offertory hymn
You guys are
tells us
ready.
what happened while the shepherds watched their flocks. Let's stand please as we sing.
While Charles is coming from the organ to lead us in prayer, gives me a chance to continue my announcements. Steve White, welcome home.
Great to be back, Brett.
Good to have you here this morning. Come and lead us in prayer, Charles.
Most loving and gracious Heavenly Father, we come
humbly before your holy throne this morning, Lord. We thank you for another day and another opportunity to be in your house and worship with our church family, Lord. And we thank you for the opportunities that you give us to serve you here in this place. And Father, we ask your forgiveness when you lay something on our hearts and we don't do it. So forgive us when we choose our own path instead of choosing yours, Lord. And Father, as we enter this season of Advent and transition from Thanksgiving to Christmas, Father, we just pray that we will continue to be grateful for the blessings that you overwhelm us with on a daily basis, Lord. We thank you most of all for sending your Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So Lord, help us to be grateful year-round, not just for a season, and not just for a day, because we can never begin to count the blessings that you pour on us individually and on this church, Lord. Now we just ask that you bless these tithes and these offerings that we're about to receive, multiply them as we continue to work here in this small place. We ask all these things in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
do know that God is a giving God. He is a generous giver. If you have it and it's good, God gave it. Buddha is not a giver. Allah is not a giver. He's a taker, a demander, one who requires. Confucius never gave his followers anything. Pagan gods required human sacrifice, flagellation. And what did they give in return? Nothing at all. But this morning we are going to see that God is a giving God, the greatest giver of all. In fact, giving began with God. So we're going to look at 12 examples real quickly, like flashcards almost. I could take 100, but we'd be here all day. First of all, he gave us this beautiful earth. I mean, have you ever been to Alaska? Have you seen the pictures? How about the Grand Canyon? Or the Smoky Mountains? Or Hawaii? God did that. Look at our first text, Genesis 1:29 to 31. Print it out for you. See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth. I've given you every tree whose fruit yields seed to you for food. Also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird in the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. So just jot it down. God gave us this beautiful earth. It didn't just happen. It was designed. There was a creator, and this is his creation. Everything God gave us is good. Any bad that we have is a result of our misuse or our own mistakes. For example, he gave us pure rivers, but we polluted them with our chemicals and trash. He gave us pure air. Likewise, we've polluted the air. For many years, men traveled across this Midwest in wagons, not knowing there was fuel beneath their feet that God had put there. And one day they began to discover the coal and the oil. It was there all the time. Because when he made this beautiful earth, he put all these natural resources there. And then one day, God gave his people a land, the Holy Land. This is repeated over and over in the Bible. A land for God's people. A chosen people, a promised land. Look at Genesis 12:7. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, to your descendants I will give this land. And he did. Joshua led them into it. David and Solomon built the kingdom to its highest point. And then, because they sinned against God, they lost it all. And they were dispersed into captivity. And the Romans came and destroyed it. But God brought them back. Some of us heard the news that day, May the 14th, 1948, when Israel was acknowledged as a state. After nearly 2,000 years, God had not forgotten his promise to give them a land. That is their land, y'all. And Iran is not going to take it away from them. Russia is not going to take it away from them. The Muslim Brotherhood will never take it away from them. And the UN will never take it away from them. And neither will the US. And neither will Satan. God has given them that land. He's a giver. Look at number 3. God gives his presence and his peace. Rest is peace. So it's recorded in Exodus 33, and he said, my presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. Les Honey suffered from Alzheimer's for over 10 years. The last 2 years, 3 months, and 1 week, he was bedfast, totally. But there was a presence in that room, 24/7, because the Lord was there. 421 39th Street, he never left it. Same presence is with our students off at college. Our men and women off in military service. Our young guys like Chase off on his first job right out of high school. He gives his presence to those who want it. He is ever there, giving us his presence. He's out there at Daystar right now, a period, in a room with John Cage, and in another room with Daryl Sherman. He gives his presence to all who will receive it. What a gift. 4th, he gives us the power to be successful, to make wealth, to get where we want to be. Deuteronomy 8:18. But you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who is giving you power to make wealth. If you've got it made, God put you there. It was God who gave you that ability. That was God who gave you that mental acumen. Oh, I've experienced it lately. My cousin passed away April 28th after 11 years of our being her power of attorney. And then that meant becoming her executive. Her lawyer had retired. My lawyer in Illinois doesn't do Kentucky stuff. So I said, God, help me through this. Help me navigate through this step by step. So the first step was go to court and be named executor according to the will. Then after that, lots of stuff. Inventory, paying bills, depositing refunds, the whole bit. Back to court again. And tomorrow, the last step. I've done it without a lawyer. And I'm no lawyer, nor the son of a lawyer. But God gives us ability. And I don't know how many times a little light came on and said, oh, you better do this. And I do it just in time. I may go to law school after tomorrow. But God gives us insight, ability. He gave those guys yesterday the ability to catch a football thrown 40 yards down the field against them on a corner. Tim Tebow was right to take a knee in the end zone to thank God for scoring a touchdown. If you've got it and it's good, it came from God. Be humble. Be modest. And always give God the glory. The 5th evidence example of God's giving is he gives us wisdom and understanding. 1 Kings. Now, God gave Solomon wisdom and very great discernment and breadth of mind, understanding. Knowledge is learned. We go to school. But wisdom is given. A lot of people have knowledge, but not much wisdom. It's good to have knowledge, But it's so much better to have wisdom. Listen to James. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. You can have wisdom by connecting with God, asking God to give you wisdom, and it will be given to you. Listen to Proverbs chapter 2, verses 10 to 15. When wisdom enters your heart, and knowledge is pleasant to your soul, discretion will preserve you. Understanding will keep you to deliver you from the way of evil, from the man who speaks perverse things, from those who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice in doing evil and delight in the perversity of the wicked, whose ways are crooked. You don't have to go down that dark way. You can have discernment and understanding and wisdom. God will give it. And the sixth example is God will give you his spirit. Nehemiah 9:20. You gave your good spirit to instruct them. Your manna you did not withhold from their mouth, and you gave them water for their thirst. He not only gave them manna for their physical needs and water for their physical needs, but he gave them his spirit for their spiritual needs. The spirit determines everything. Some people have the spirit of greed. Others have the spirit of lust. You see it on the news a lot. But you can have the Spirit of God. And the fruit of that Spirit is love and joy and peace and kindness and goodness and perseverance and faith. So what kind of spirit do you have? Has God given you his Spirit? I think so. I see the spirit of kindness here, the spirit of thankfulness, Wednesday night, the spirit of joy. He'll give you his spirit. So, if you are fearful, that spirit did not come from God. He didn't give it. It says so. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, that's his presence, and love, that's his spirit, and of a sound mind. Have it? You got it? You can. You just ask him for it, and he will give it to you. The seventh example is God gives us life. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. You were not a biological accident. You were created by God using human material. But the life came from him. He willed it. God knew you before you were born. Three things about you. You came from him. You're living right now by his permission. And you're going to return to him when your living is done. God is our life. Our life came from God. He said, I'm come that you might have life in abundance. The devil has come to steal and kill and destroy. Life is from God. Live it up. Number 8, God gives us strength. The Lord will give strength to his people. In Isaiah, a well-known verse, he gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might, he increases power. God is the strength of my heart. God is the strength of my life, said the psalmist. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength, mount up with wings as eagles. They shall walk and not faint, and run and not grow weary. And I love this verse. As your days, so shall your strength be. All the way, God gives us strength. Number 10. Now, God gives us the desires of our heart. You know that? God will give you the desires of your heart. Look at the verse. Delight yourself in the Lord. That's the precondition. And He will give you the desires of your heart. If our heart is right, if our delight is in the Lord, if we love Him with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, then our desires are going to be right, and God can give them to us. The prerequisite is delighting yourself in the Lord, in His Word, in His people, in His church, in His service. My heart has desires for you, for our little kids, for our teens, for our families, and for our town. So the best thing I can do for you and others is to delight myself in the Lord, and He'll give me those desires. So it all begins with our relationship with Him. Number 10, God will give His angels charge over you. Our giving God gives His angels charge. For He will give His angels charge concerning you to guard you in all your ways. So we used to sing it around campfires all night, all day. Angels watching over me, watching over His church. Angels are supernatural beings, servants of God, assigned to do His will, His work. And you don't have any idea how many times that angel has kept you from harm. You have no idea. As you travel, as you work, as you intermingle, how many times an angel has guarded your life? Because God said, I've got plans. I want that child guarded. I could go on and on this morning talking about our giving God, God giving those who sat in darkness a great light. That's what we're coming up on for Christmas. God giving us power to become the children of God, Romans. I could talk about God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. We've got time for 2 more. Number 11, one day God gave us a sign. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore, the Lord Himself will give you a sign. Here it is. Behold, a virgin will be with child and bear a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel. We're coming to celebrate that event. What a story. The manger that Bonnie gave to our kids brought God to us. The cross brought us to God. Mission accomplished. From the cradle to the cross. The whole story. God gave us a son. A sign. Number 12. Not only did He give us a sign, but He gave us a son. For God so loved the world. He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. God knew what would happen to His Son. When He sent Him to Bethlehem, He knew what would happen, how people would react, what would be done. But He sent Him anyway, not just for the good people, but He sent Him for all the people. The ultimate gift. Thanks be unto God for His unspeakable, indescribable gift, the gift of His Son. So you see, God is the greatest giver of all. Amen? And if we're going to be godly, then we share in that attribute. we become givers also. Now, it's easy to give something you don't need. It's easy to give something you don't want. It's easy to give something that isn't worth anything. But listen, God gave His Son. Heaven gave its Prince. And Jesus gave His life. You talk about giving, that's the ultimate gift. I'm so thankful that He has given us His grace, His presence, that empowers us to be who we were created to be and to do what we are called to do. God is generous in giving His grace, His empowering presence. That's where it all comes from. So sometimes I watch our people at work and I wonder, how are they able to do this? And I know the answer. The empowering presence. They couldn't do that on their own. They'd have burned out a long time ago. But His grace empowers. Just like that sun bursting through these windows. He illumines us and empowers us. So this whole month we're going to be celebrating the season of giving, because we come from a God who is a giver. We're going to give encouragement. We're going to give ourselves to Uproot for the 21st year in a row. We're going to give ourselves to teaching the children, to loving one another. Next Sunday night at 5, we're going to give ourselves to go sing carols in some of the places they're going to throw your heart. It's the season for giving. Chip off the old one. So, Father, thank you for giving so much to us. Thank you for the verse we have this morning. He who did not spare His own Son, but delivered Him up for us all, how shall He not with Him freely give us all things? Thank you, Lord, for abilities, acumen. Thank you for never giving up on us, but just giving us chance after chance till we get it right. Thank you for giving the one sitting next to us right now in life all the way. It all has come from you. So help us never to forget that. Not to take the blessing and forget the blessing. Not to take the gift and never thank the giver. Oh Lord, thank you for giving us this life in Christ. Help us to live it well and to live it for your glory. If you're here this morning and you've never received the gift of salvation, He wants to give it to you right now, right where you sit. You don't even have to come forward. Just take it, receive it, and we'll know the difference. We'll see the difference. And if you want to let us know, that's wonderful. But the main thing is, connect with Him right now. He gives you His gift. The gift of eternal life. Daily joy. Forgiveness of the past. And assurance for the future. What a gift. Undeserved. But it's a gift. And He wants you to have it. He's really looking forward to when we live with Him in glory. It all begins with a gift. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you. Amen. We've changed the hymn now that was listed in the bulletin. He giveth more grace. Let's stand and sing it, please. praise be to God for all his gifts, from whom all blessings flow. Have a great week and a beautiful December.